What is going on, guys? Kenny here from 619 Guitars and Gear, and in today's video we're going to talk about the Evertune bridge system and what I think the benefits of owning one is, as well as clear up some of the crazy rumors about the Evertune. So as always, let's get into it. The Evertune is a revolutionary, patented, all-mechanical guitar bridge system that keeps the guitar in tune under any conditions. Using nothing but clever physics and combinations with a system of springs and levers, Evertune maintains constant tension on each individual string, keeping the guitar in perfect tuning indefinitely. I've had my Evertune equipped solar for around 7 months now, and during that 7 months I've definitely been able to figure out the things that I love about the Evertune and then the few things that I don't really like. So in this video I just want to take a few minutes to just talk about what I personally think the benefits of owning an Evertune are, as well as just how easy it is to set up, talk about my likes and dislikes, and then finally address some of the silly rumors that are floating around about the Evertune bridge. So as far as the Evertune system itself, they make some pretty bold claims when it comes to just how good this thing is with, its revolutionary, patented, all-mechanical spring and lever system for each string that is basically going to make this guitar impossible to knock out of tune. Whatever guitar you put the Evertune on, I should say. Now, in this day and age, that's going to cause people to be skeptical because that's just how it is nowadays. But, after getting this thing and getting it out of the box, I was really pleasantly surprised on just all the claims that they made. Once I got it set up and everything, I was just kind of blown away with what I was witnessing, what I was hearing, and it was just kind of like a game changer in my opinion. Which brings me to what I want to talk about as far as the major benefits are. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room with one of the biggest benefits is just your tuning stability that you're going to get with the Evertune system and the whole spring and lever system. You're not going to get those issues where it comes to weather and everything. Just all the situations that would make a guitar with a normal bridge system on it go out of tune. That's not going to happen. Basically the tension with the spring and lever system is just going to kind of correct all that, which going in different temperatures and just bringing the guitar back and forth, especially for like a touring musician or something, that can be pretty crucial. So I think that's definitely one of the shining points about the Evertune bridge. And then another thing, which is one of my favorites and it's one of the biggest claims they make, is with the intonation. Now every guitar is going to have that one spot to where depending on how much pressure you put on the string, it's going to make the note go a little bit sharp intonation wise. With the Evertune, that doesn't happen. So that what's really cool is if you have a nut that's cut a little high or something like that, especially around the first fret. That's always a crucial part. If your nut's a little high, you put a little bit more pressure than normal. Everyone's different when it comes to putting pressure on when they do chords and play and stuff. So I think that's where it really shines, is you're going to have that consistent intonation all throughout the fretboard, as long as your frets are all in the right position and stuff, which they should be from the factory. But you're not going to have that inconsistency with intonation. Every guitar usually has it, no matter how good it's set up. It's kind of going to correct all those issues. And I think that's where it really shines, especially for people in the studio. Say you do a couple takes one week and you have to come back the next week, you're going to pretty much leave off, you're going to start right where you left off basically. You're not going to have any kind of difference in your tuning, your intonation to where a regular guitar, bringing it back and forth, different temperatures, inside, outside. It could kind of change some stuff, and then you could actually fight your recording to get it to sound the same. And with the Evertune system, that's just not going to happen. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about it. And that brings us into my likes and dislikes. Now, obviously, there's a lot more likes and dislikes, but there is a few things that I don't like about it. But we'll talk about what I like first. Obviously, I love just how stable it is, the tuning stability and the whole intonation thing. That's obviously really, really important. And that was probably the thing I was most blown away with when I got my Evertune equipped solar. I was blown away with just the consistency of the sound no matter what situation I threw at it, and I was super happy with that whole deal. Another thing I kind of really like was just the feel of the string spacing. In my opinion, it's a little bit less of a string spacing than a normal bridge system, so it just has a nice, really narrow feel. It kind of allows the neck to be a little bit skinnier, especially on this solar, so it just has all around a comfortable feel. I mean, obviously the neck is more up to the guitar manufacturer, but I think because of the string spacing on the Evertune, it does allow you to have a little bit of a narrower neck, so that's pretty cool. Another thing I really like is just the ease of use of everything. A lot of people think the Evertune is super hard to set up and use, and it's really not. It's super easy, but we'll talk about that whole thing more when we talk about all the rumors that are going around. Now, as far as the things that I don't like, there's very few of them, and my biggest thing that I don't like is probably the fact that you're kind of tied down to the string gauge that Evertune recommends. Because of the whole spring modules in the back here, you have to kind of run a certain gauge with certain tunings. So if you're like locked down to a certain string gauge that you have to have for a certain tuning, or else it's like a no-go, that could be a crappy situation for you, because you're gonna have to go out and buy a different spring module with either a stiffer spring or a softer spring. But I mean, if you don't mind the fact that you're kind of tied down to what string gauge Evertune recommends, then it's really not that big of a deal. I mean, you can kind of get used to whatever you play if you play it long enough, right? So it's not a huge deal, but that's just a dislike that for certain people it could become a problem. But at the same time, it could be easily, you could easily get through it. So that's one thing I don't like. And then the other thing that I don't really care for is sometimes I notice that the saddles will get stuck and you have to like reset them. So you have to loosen the tension on the string, completely loosen the tuning screw in the saddle, and kind of like reset it. I've read online that happens to a good amount of people. I'm not sure if it's just certain models, certain, if it's like a manufacturer defect or something, but it's happened to me a couple times, but it's not really a big deal, but it's definitely something worth pointing out. And then another little thing that I don't like is the fact that on certain guitars, you're not going to be able to have a recessed backplate, which isn't a huge deal. It's probably going to, be decided on how thick your body is. If you have a little bit of a thicker body, you probably will be able to have that recessed backplate. But on skinnier bodies like on this solar, the backplate's not going to be recessed. Not a huge deal. I don't really care, but it's just something that, I mean, I guess it could bother certain people. It bothered me at first, but then honestly, the more I played it, the more I didn't even realize it. So I guess I'll just put it in the dislike section just because it might bother certain people. And that brings us into our final thing with addressing the rumors and talking about just how easy it is to set up. People have this thing in their head that it's just super hard to set up. You're going to spend more time setting up the Evertune than you do playing it. And that's the furthest from the truth. Honestly, once you set this thing up, you don't even have to touch it. You can hang it on the wall and every day bring it down and just play it. You don't have to tune, and that's kind of like the whole point, honestly. You have your action set up here, your intonation set up over on the back of the bridge, and everything is super easy, which brings me into the whole rumor about the Evertune. Big rumor about it is that you can't do string bends, which is the furthest from the truth. And that's when I'll talk about the setup a little bit. Now, the Evertune's pretty simple to where the rule of thumb is it really has 3 zones. Now, zone 1 is basically going to be if you are restringing your guitar and the string is all floppy and loose, and you start turning the tuning key and the pitch starts going up, that's in zone 1. Now, when you hit zone 2 is when you're turning the tuning key and hitting the string, and even with turning the tuning key, your string note is staying the same. that's basically when you enter zone 2. And that's when you're going to want to use the Allen key at the saddle to actually tune the guitar. So you're not using the tuning keys. You're basically just using the tuning keys to tension the system, and then you're going to do your tuning at the saddle with your Allen key. And you don't want to do any of that until you're in zone 2. So once you're at zone 1, you tune your tuning keys. The note starts staying the same no matter how much you tighten the tuning key. That's zone 2. And then once you do your tuning, that's when you can determine if you want to do string bends or not do string bends. And that's another cool thing, is you can basically pick what strings you want to be able to bend. You know, some people might not want the first 3 strings to bend, so you get that nice crispy sound, and then maybe have your bottom 3s be able to bend so you can still solo and everything on those. And you can customize what strings you want to bend and not to bend. That's all basically up to you. And the way you're going to do that is anywhere from the beginning of zone 2 to the middle towards the end of zone 2, you're not going to be able to do string bends. So for instance, right now I can do string bends. But let's go towards the middle of zone 2. You can see I'm tuning the tuning key and nothing's changing, but watch. See, now we're probably in the middle of zone 2 towards the beginning. Can't do string bends. But then we'll go back up, we'll turn the tuning key, and right when we enter zone 3, see zone 3, you see this pitch change? That's when you hit zone 3, and then you just want to back it off a little bit. And that's when you can do, you're basically bending the string into zone 3. So the whole rumor about you can't do string bends is completely false. So get it out of your head, and I really, really recommend that everyone go out and try an Evertune if you haven't already. It's not going to be for everyone, but I think it's kind of a game changer in my book. But I just wanted to make a quick little video and talk about what I think my favorite things are and the benefits of owning an Evertune bridge are, just in case the people out there have never really seen one or played one before. Maybe this video will help you out. But there's plenty of videos online. Ola's done a really good amount of videos on how to set up the Evertune, going in more detail. I highly suggest watching them, or just going on Evertune's website. There's a lot of information on that website. There's even like installation guides. There's everything. They even have a section where you can buy guitars that already have Evertunes in them, which I think is really, really cool. I didn't even know that exists till the other day. I went on there, and they have some pretty cool guitars on there with Evertunes installed. So check it out for yourself. But that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to give you my opinion on the Evertune system. But as always, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe, be a good person, drink all the water in the world, have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one.